What was good, gang, flavor gang? Today we're gonna be talking about is college the move? Two juniors in high school talking about is college the move. We got some AP Lang studies up in here. We're feeling pretty AP Lang. We're feeling like just having a good sauna conversation. My name is Cam. Let's see. This is part of the Optimized Club Media, which is basically just a self-improvement club at our school that me and Juwan be running. This is Juwan.
Yo, what's up, Cam? It's good to see you. Yeah, my name is Juwan. Um, part of the Optimize. I am honored to be in here with Cam again. Once again, this is our eighth podcast revolving around self-improvement. I'm so excited to tackle this podcast today.
Yeah,
And the big
we are.
question is college the
What
move?
is college the move,
College the
man?
move.
It's college the move.
And
Today,
since we are both juniors, going to our senior years, this is a big question that people around us are asking in their lives. You know, is college actually the move? What are the pros and cons
mhm.
of college? So we actually did the research for you. We put our thoughts into this. So maybe you could consider going to college or maybe not going to college.
Yep. Y'all got any questions? We're gonna be answering them today, giving our opinions, stuff like that. The main argument that I think that I came up with in my research today was, well, it was pretty biased because I already thought this, but then I found confirmation bias evidence to back it up. Was that college is really only the move if you're trying to become a doctor, engineer, or a lawyer, and that's what I'm gonna be talking about today. Um, what was your main argument, Juwan?
Well, my main argument was that college is worth it only if you know what you're doing in college. Because I thought the other side of the people who actually go to college without knowing what to do or without their intrinsic motivation to go to college, they actually don't do that well in life. But for us who actually know what we're going to do in life, know what to do after college, and why we are attending to go to college, and we are working something on the side, you know, developing our own selves, personal development, doing all that stuff within college, and minimizing the party life and actually getting on your shit, even in college. I feel like that is the moves right there.
Huh. Huh. Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. I realized the first point you said is something that I think a lot of people, especially in our schools, need to realize. The first thing that you said was realize that college is not the end goal of your life. And how does that apply to your argument?
Yeah, when I see the people around me, especially like within our area, it's a highly competitive place within the triangle itself. Oop, just released our location. Anyways, but yeah, there's so many competition, and people, or specifically students, are only aiming for college in their lives. They're not really thinking of their future. They're not even thinking of their adulthood, what they're going to do. They think that the jobs they're going to get is dictated by the colleges that they get accepted to. So let's say a highly competitive student thinks if they are making it to Duke that they're gonna have $1 million salary income and something crazy like that. But what I'm arguing for is that is not actually the case. And I've done some basic research to prove my point. The value of degrees is getting less and less every single year. And I actually pulled up a statistic that the percentage of jobs requiring a college degree fell from 51% to 44% between 2017 to 2021. And that is roughly around 7%. And those small numbers are actually so big in the real world. So I think that is really a big thing that students should consider.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So if I'm like a college kid and or like a high school kid and I'm just really trying to get into this college and I think to myself like, oh, if I get into Duke, I get this super high salary, but if I get into NC State, oh, I'm gonna be poor. It's like, what do you tell that kid? Like, what do you do instead of looking for a college degree?
I think instead of looking for a college degree, I think what really matters is how you're going to approach it. Like how you're going to get that job, how you're going to approach your profession, how you're actually going to start bumping up your income and start going and improving improvements, like constantly overloading your work. Do you have any thoughts on the mindset that college is going to lead you well into life?
Well, it's my main argument is it depends on if you want to be doctor, engineer, or lawyer. And if you don't want to be one of those, then I think that your time could be better spent and your money could be better spent. So, like one of the main things that I thought about were like when you look at the average college salary, let's just say you go to a state school, at least for us, it's like 20K per year, right? Okay, what can you do with 20K per year? Okay, well, I did some math. You can go to a Travis Scott concert twice a month. You can go to Chick-fil-A every single day. You can have a nice dinner out with your girl and pay for her twice a month. You can get a round trip ticket to Barcelona and back. You can have $2,000 to spend in Barcelona. You can go to any party you want because they're free. And you can get a round trip to France as well and get 1,000 macarons and still have $8,000 left over. And that's only 1 year that you spent on college. Now,
Boom.
the main question that people say college is for when it's not for a degree, because maybe I'll go into that later, but a lot of people go into college not for the degree, but for the social life. And then you ask yourself, like, oh, you're not going to have the social experience if you go to college. It's like, look at that, man. And then you do that 4 5 times over and still spend the same amount of money that you would have spent. And with the amount of time you just saved, let's just say you go out every single night and have fun, you can spend 10 hours a day on something actually productive, not wasting your time on like anthropology class that you had to pay $2,000 for. You could like spend it on a course. You know what I mean? Because let's just say you're going into like business or something, right? Do you really need a whole degree to get a business degree? Like I've never heard anybody really say that like, oh, you need a business degree to go into business. It's like, no, bro, you just like do business or you get like MBAs. Like a lot of people say MBAs are probably some of the most useless things they've gotten. At least that's what I've heard. And there's books and like gurus online, bro. Just listen to those people. So you could spend all the money and the time that you're wasting on taking courses on stuff that's actually productive toward your goals, instead of wasting it on like stupid classes on a campus that is only there to give you a social life that you could get a social life elsewhere with. So the question with you asked, college is not the end goal in your life. It's like it's not if you're not becoming a doctor, engineer, or lawyer. It does matter a lot if you're becoming a doctor, engineer, or lawyer, because you kind of need the education for that. But for the other stuff, it really just comes down to not the education, but the experience. So, yeah.
So this is a bit of a personal question, but what do you think you are thinking of in terms of your major? Have you thought of anything in terms of college, Cam?
Yeah. I was thinking of, well, at first I was thinking of not going, but then my dad said, like, you basically got to go. So I had to start thinking about things to do. And so I think I'm probably going to go into business just because, like, it's the closest thing to what I want to do if I'm trying to do this type of stuff for my whole life. Then I think the closest thing would be business. But, like, really, I would go there for the network. You know what I mean? One big thing about college is, like, the network, which is, I guess I didn't really consider when I thought about my argument, but a lot of, you probably will meet a lot of cool people there that will be in your niche, that will do things that you want to do, that you might want to connect with. Like let's say you're going into IT, you probably want to meet some like cool IT people. But if you're going into like entrepreneurship, then you're probably not going to meet the good entrepreneurs in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I've included in my part that then what do you think really differentiates your social life and networking? How do those two
Hmm.
contrast?
Okay. Okay. You see, I don't know that much yet because I'm not like that good at networking. But I would assume it has to be something like if you network, you know you guys are into the same business. Like network is business side, social life is social side. I guess that's how you can describe it. But yeah, Like it can be a little bit of both. If you go into college and you get the network, then you probably will become friends with them, but you can also do some business on the side with them. But like if you're really trying to network, it's really just like you DM this guy that you've seen online, something like that, and you're like, "Yo, man, I like your stuff. Tell me something about this." You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you see yourself partying in college?
I see myself going to like one or two just to see what it's like, but I don't see myself like a partier. You know what I mean? What about
Yeah,
you?
gotcha. Yeah, I don't see myself partying. I would see. Yeah, I would definitely try it like once or twice. Maybe like once every month or two. Really, I really don't know what's gonna happen, honestly. I don't want to get into like the hard drinking, the freaking
Yeah,
degenerate parties. Those are
yeah,
definitely not where I want to be at.
yeah. That's like, bro. That's that ECU type stuff.
Oh my God, bro. Don't even talk about ECU. They're just like known for being a party school. They're basically
Bro, I heard.
known for, and you know, bro, you know,
I heard
all the Ivy schools, I think the Ivy schools are work hard, party hard. So I heard their frats and sororities are pretty crazy in partying too.
really?
That's what I heard. So
That's
yeah,
crazy. You wouldn't expect it, bro.
I know you wouldn't expect like studious people, but you also got to consider like in the Ivies there's studious people, but there's also gonna be like the partiers in within the studious people. So that's
Oh,
actually crazy. Yeah,
like those dudes who just got through high school way too easily, just like had fun on the side.
yeah. I think this is one of the questions that you put down for me, but
Mm.
I wanted to ask you first, and then I'll ask you this question. Do you think it's worth it going to Ivy if you actually get accepted in?
Um, I thought about it, and like it cost 4 times as much as a normal school. Do you get 4 times the value? I don't know if it's worth going, but I've heard from some guys. Like this guy was in finance major. He goes to
Hmm.
NC State right now, and
Yeah.
he was talking about how those dudes in like Stanford, Princeton, like those Ivy schools, they just like fed opportunities, just like oh, just like gulp it down. Like they barely got to do anything. They just like they're just giving stuff. You know what I mean? Just throwing at you. But him at NC State, he's got to work his AASS off just to like even become close, and he still doesn't even get the same amount of offers. And this guy, like I can tell, he's hardworking. So I think it's one of those things like if you know you're gonna make a lot of money in the long run from your major or just like in the long run, I think it might be worth it because it like just gets you things easier and like the name and stuff. It's a lot of leverage. But if you're trying to become like a teacher or something where it doesn't really matter where you come from, don't go. But if you're going to like finance or something and you have a Harvard degree, it looks you're gonna get like better jobs than someone who comes from NC State. So it really depends on what you're going into and if you're gonna make a lot of money once you're out, because otherwise you're just going to debt.
Yeah, I think for me, I would also consider the cost. It's quite insane. Like you mentioned, it's 4 times the cost.
Yeah,
Where else like the public or state universities are about like 20 grand, but that's still pretty
yeah,
much insane, like 20 to 40-ish grand. And I know one
yeah.
guy from New York, he went to Columbia, which is one of the Ivy schools, and he had to pay 4,000 a month just for his living, for his apartment. And his apartment, he didn't even live by himself. He split up into I think about like four different people,
That's
but he
crazy,
still had to pay $4,000. And let's think, bro, what can we do with $4,000?
bro.
And
Oh my god,
if you actually think about that for a second, we could create a startup, we could put some funding into it, and then we could go into a business, and then we could do just so much things. Like you said, we could go
I
freaking
know.
round trip to France, take your girl out and dates every single night, whatever.
Yeah,
We could do so much
even
things with those
4K a
amount
month,
of
bro.
money.
That's
But I
crazy.
think the argument for these people is, which is a pretty reasonable argument, is that in the long run, attending to a good university or Ivy League is going to be worth it because in the long run, they're going to have a substantially high amount of income, which is going to cover your costs.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
believe in that?
I mean, yeah, I've thought about that because you get the name forever. It's not like you'll be in debt forever. You know what I mean? Like you might be in debt for the first 4 years, but like you're gonna make like 80K at least a year if you go to like Harvard or something. And if you have a good major, you have a good just like business, you'll probably make at least like in the 100, 200Ks per year. So it's like you could pay it off after, I don't know, if you're smart with your money, like less than 10 years. So, I mean, yeah, it might be worth it. But then again, in 10 years, like you could get to the level of wherever that Harvard person was like got that head start to if you just work hard. So, yeah. I don't know, man. It's one of those things like you just work hard now to get into the Harvard or you work hard later to get to catch up to the Harvard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. I think my side of my argument, I said college can be worth it if you can use it to your advantage. I partly said that because I read a pretty quite life changing book recently called "So Good They Can't Ignore You" by Cal Newport. He talked about like your career life, what you can do with your passion. He talked about like the passion mindset versus different type of mindsets. And one part really stuck with me, and it's called acquiring career capital, which is
Hmm.
basically like your mega portfolio that you have in terms of what you could put down on your table. So it's
Yeah.
like the valuable skills that you can have that are going to be valuable when you're, let's say, you're applying for a job or when you're starting a business or when your customers see what you're doing. And I think college can be a reasonable thing to put down on your career capital
Yeah.
because
True.
4 years worth of education. And I mean, obviously, they're worth so high because they have to be valued in the same level. They have to be valued high to be priced that high. So, although it's quite a lot of education, although there are a lot of time being wasted, I still think it's valuable, right? Because it
Yeah.
shows that you are acquiring this career capital. And even for somebody pursuing business, I feel like it could be like their line of defense. Like, what if their
Yeah. True.
business just doesn't work out? What if, because it's a really big, risky part to like just start a business without college or like education or whatever, even though you're saving money because you're not going to college.
True.
But I think attending college while running something on the side, like a business, like you mentioned, is quite reasonable if you know what you're doing and if you use it to your advantage. So just wanted to put it out there.
Hmm. Hmm. So you're saying it's just a backup?
Yeah, basically what I think is that backup, and that degree is not as valuable as one could think, but it could still be valuable in terms of um like some companies even require degrees
Hmm.
for somebody to be hired. But let's say you want to start a business where you are the person hiring people, where you don't want to be hired. Then in terms of that, I don't think a degree like Alex Hormozy or Iman Gotsi, or you see these like big influencers online, do they have
Yeah.
degrees? No, Iman Gotsi dropped out when he was like 16. Alex Hormozy, I honestly don't know.
He went
Did
to
he go to
Vanderbilt.
high school? Oh, he wow.
But
All
I'm
right.
pretty sure he said he wanted to get out there as fast as he could. He got a consulting job for businesses, and then I think he like went off into the countryside, lived in a warehouse, and started his own business. But then again, he had a degree in business from an Ivy League school, so maybe that did give him a little bit of a start, more than he gives himself credit for. But like still, he very much is self made in like from 10 to $100 million.
Yeah, he really popped off. I've recently been reading his book. I think I told you.
Yeah.
His $100 million offers. Yeah, I didn't know he went to Vanderbilt. Wow. So maybe that's. But I think honestly, like his own personal factors instead of like his the fact that he went to a college or a degree. I don't think the degree played too much of a significant factor. Probably only like a small percentage of his success came from the degree, but I don't think
Yeah.
in terms of Alex Hormozy, his business, I mean his degree might have not been as valuable as like
Mhm.
a degree for a doctor or a lawyer because in those
Yeah.
cases you said those are required.
Yeah.
Let me throw down another question though.
Okay.
So if you're somebody who is quite unsure about college, a lot of people take gap years between
Oh,
their high school year and their college years. What are your views on gap years?
well, my views right now on gap years are kind of limited because I don't know much about gap years, but my initial impression is just because I haven't seen any like stuff come from people's gap years. I just kind of like see it as like, oh, that kid's taking a gap year, you know? But my initial impression is just like, this kid does not know what he's gonna do. He's gonna waste a bunch of money on college. What is he doing, you know? Because you only take gap years because you don't know what you're doing, right? Um, and like, I don't know what doing nothing for a year is gonna teach you anything. So, um, I mean, if you're doing nothing for a year, that's obviously stupid, but I think it can be beneficial if you use that year to like figure out what you want to do. Like, like obviously that's what people say, but I don't know what they actually do during a gap year, right? Like, do you know anyone who's taking a gap year? What do people do during a gap year typically?
I think people will take the gap year. Some people will take some people go on vacation. They go on like trips and stuff, but I think some people use that time to work on their business. I read a book and there was like with this one character taking a gap year
Yeah.
and he created a book during that period. He created a blog that popped off and then he entered his freshman year of college with like bunch of clout, bunch of fame. He got reported on the news for his college news and his
Wow.
success came during his gap year. So maybe it's something to consider. I mean, some people take it as where they could build their own business and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have any like firsthand perspective, so can't really talk with much certainty.
Yeah. Yeah. My
It doesn't
brother
interest
and
me though.
yeah, my brother and Benny, they're graduating early so that they can work on YouTube for 6 months without any distractions. I think it's smart
Yeah.
because it's kind of like a gap year. Um, and like my parents are just making PJ make um take like 2 or 3 Wake Tech classes just to like be productive because they of course want him to get a college degree faster or whatever. But
Hmm.
like as long as you're using it productively, definitely is can be something good that like if you have that opportunity and it's good in your eyes, then yeah, you should probably do it.
Bro, what do you think about going to community college?
Oh, community college. That's like probably like at least here, bro. Oh my gosh, you can get 2 years for free and then go like transfer to UNC or state. That's so smart, bro. I don't know if all community colleges do that, but like honestly, it's such a good investment of money that if you do it, bro, like honestly, like kind of like I know a couple guys at the community college right now, and they're just transferring or they're just getting their associates. And it's like, dude, associate's degrees, they're just like taking AP classes. There's no specifics to it. You're not moving toward your degree. It's just like stupid classes that you have to take. So, like, if you can do that for really cheap at a community college, I would do it any day, bro. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I know one guy too, and he's trying to be a nurse through Wake Tech, and he does online Wake Tech classes, and he tells me it's just like the lightest thing he's done. Like it's probably easier than high school, honestly, at this point. And I thought like, yo, if I could go to college online while doing something like creating a business, running a side
Yeah.
hustle, doing all that sort, then it might actually be worth it. I don't know. It's just a thought that I have.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a backup idea. I honestly wouldn't be too sad if I didn't get accepted to these colleges
Yeah.
because I'll then have Wake Tech and then like you
Yeah.
said, it's such a good investment. Although
Yeah.
you may be like missing out on like the social factors and networking, but it's such a good investment.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a good investment. Think of all
Definitely.
that time you could have. Think of all that time you could have, but also I think putting yourself in college makes you quite uncomfortable, so it might be the path to take too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
consider that so.
What do you think of being able, like, do you think you'll actually be productive, able to work on your business living on a college campus?
That's a good question. Yeah, because dorm life is quite it ruins like your privacy a little bit. Imagine like trying to do
Yeah,
YouTube videos with your homie doing something on the back,
yeah, I
or
know,
imagine
right?
trying to focus for a business. I just can't
Yeah,
imagine that.
yeah.
I just can't imagine that.
I would have to like have like hours, like, hey man, you gotta leave right now. I'm trying to do something for the next
Yeah,
8 hours.
but still, like living in a college life, like that's quite selfish. Like if I was a regular student, staying up at like 2 a.m. and some guy is telling me to like get out, yo, I'm sleeping at 9 p.m. I'm staying optimal. I'll quite get pissed.
Yeah,
So that comes into factor too.
yeah,
Like, do I need to
true.
respect that other person? Do I need to like pursue my own stuff and not respect their opinions? Like that's quite
Yeah,
controversial, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It would be hard to focus on. It would be
yeah,
hard to
that's
focus.
that's true, man. So I applied to this like thing over the summer. It's called Governor's School. Do you know what that is?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Did you apply?
I didn't apply. Yeah, I didn't apply, but I think I'm gonna apply for other programs.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like if I get in, which I'll learn in April, but it's kind of like high schoolers go to college and like live in a dorm for like I think 4 weeks, and you're gonna have like a dorm mate. It's literally just like college for a month, and you can't leave, whatever. So I guess I'll see how that is, and it'll give me a better idea knowing if I think that if it's so bad that maybe I'll just like live off campus. You know what I mean? But I really hope it's not that bad.
So yeah, what are your thoughts on those like summer programs? Do you think those are worth
Summer program?
because they're quite long? I'm pretty sure governor's school is like 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm doing one this summer, so I'll figure it out. I think it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, and how was like the application and stuff for the people who's watching? There's like different applications for summer programs or whatever. You think those are worth applying to?
It depends how
Basically,
prestigious it is. It's like if it helps you get in, then yeah, do it. It like gets you into a good college. Because for governor's school, I think it's pretty prestigious, at least from what I've heard. And I think that if you get in, it's probably like if you have a pretty decent application. Otherwise, it's probably like you'll probably get into a good school just by going there. So, I mean, actually, I knew someone who went there last year, and they had like 100K on TikTok, and they still didn't get into NC State. So I don't know what happened with that guy. No, wait, did he get into NC State? I don't know, but he didn't get into like a good school, which I thought really thought he would, because he was like senior class president, 100K on TikTok, governor's school. Like this dude was the mayor's son too. I do not know how he didn't get into the schools he wanted to get into. So, and he played tennis. I don't know, bro.
Damn. I mean, people do
College
say that if you
application.
get into like the prestigious programs like Gov School, they say that like it's quite guaranteed that you're gonna go to like the local universities, the state universities, like NC
Yeah.
State, UNC Chapel. People tell me that it's quite guaranteed. Don't know if they're
Okay.
speaking the truth.
Yeah, I mean that guy didn't get in. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Hmm. I wanted to know like so one of the biggest things from college is the opportunity loss. Do you think that even like just the time and the potential of not going to college, like the things that you could do when you don't go to college are worth going to college for? Do you know what I'm trying to
Well, I
say?
don't. Yeah, yeah. I obviously don't have a first-hand perspective, but hearing from other people, I mean, for my brother says that from college, like it's definitely 100% worth because of the social life. And at that time, I quite
Huh.
disagreed because like social life I could quite get everywhere, but thinking about like
Yeah.
other factors, I mean, first your time is lost because college is a fixed system, meaning that they set your semester on their own base, and you can't finish semesters on your own pace. I mean, imagine you could do that. Imagine you could
Dude,
actually like finish your classwork on your own pace. That would be insane, but it would be bad for some students who
yeah,
procrastinate.
it would teach
Yeah,
them a
and then
lesson
second
though.
thing, and the second thing to consider would be money. I mean, the amount of money that college consumes is quite insane, but other people do say that it's worth it in the long run because acquiring that degree is going to get you this. I mean, it's gonna save up for the money that you have lost. Okay, reasonable. And yeah, and then networking, right? Um, you would gain networking from going to college, but what will be another thing you would lose? Give me just one more, Cam.
The opportunity cost.
Yeah, opportunity cost. I think it's a bit of a balance though. I think it's a bit of a balance. But like I
Yeah,
said, if you know what you're going to do, not even if you know what you're going to do, but if you take advantage of the system. I just don't want myself to be degenerate in college. Um,
hmm
like Hamza was during his uni year. I want myself to be optimal during my college years, like really knowing what I'm doing, really working on something on the side. So I think there is a bit
yeah,
of a balance there. It depends on how you look at things. Depends on how you run things. What do you think
yeah.
that you would
You said
lose
you
in
wanted
college?
to.
Oh
Oh, yeah,
yeah, I'll
I'll
let
ask
you
you
finish.
this though, because I am
Okay.
kind of curious. You said you wanted to stand out in college. Um, how how do you stand out in college?
So a lot of high school students work vigorously throughout their high school career to get into that top university. But
Hmm
I know some of them that have fallen off because okay, since they're made it to their top universities, I've made myself stand out already. I'm at this university, and they don't really consider themselves standing out within that university, within that prestigious university. So I guess they don't work as hard. I guess they go to parties, they study smart, but they party hard.
Mm,
So what I would do is I would study smart. I would minimize my time studying. Really, um, time management skills through the roof. I would
hmm
try to minimize my social outs, and I'll work on something on the sides, like working on projects, working on businesses that is
Yeah,
going to catch other people's attention, hopefully,
yeah.
and just work hard, discipline every day, stay optimal, try to stand out, try to do things that other people aren't doing, which I might not know yet, but I have quite a bit of idea for, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to ask you the same thing. What do you think that you would lose from going to college?
Well, the main thing is just the opportunity cost. It's 4 years and a lot of money, but really just like the 4 years, right? You spend 4 years working towards something that maybe won't even be something that you want to work toward. You know what I mean? It's like if you're trying to get into, I saw this example on Alex Hormozzi's channel. He was talking to a kid who wanted to get into college or not get into college, right? He didn't really want to, right? He was leaning toward not to because he wanted to go into sales. And so Alex Hormozzi talked to him, whatever. He's like, the world doesn't need another 3.1 GPA business degree. And then the kid dropped out because of that. Because he realized like he's not gonna actually try in his degree. He's not gonna try to get the 4.0. He's not gonna like really like try really hard to get that job, because he doesn't really want it. And so it's kind of just like a waste of time if you're not there to try. So what he did is he dropped out and he just got a sales job because he knew like by the time these guys were done with college, they would probably like if this guy spent 3 years with no college, got a sales job, he would be here, right? He would get to like the third tier by the time these guys get to their graduation. And then these guys would graduate and automatically get into the third tier because they have college degrees. So both of them they have the same job. But this guy's a lot more experienced. And then this guy's like just flying ahead while these guys still gotta learn like the basics. Because a lot of times college degrees don't actually teach you what you need to know for the job. So it's like you get all this experience that's lost in the 3 years that's worth so much in the long term and just shoots you ahead. And that's like the main opportunity cost. You're losing out on so much valuable time.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think college teaches you like the basic knowledge, but in terms of experience, I mean, you have to get that experience from yourself. And from college, maybe not the best, but from your own, like your own business, acquiring your own assets, putting yourself in those situations, I think those are what builds your
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. I think we should
Wrap up.
hit a little
Yeah.
bit of hit a little bit of wrap up gang flavor gang. Wait, gang bang bang flavor gang.
Gang, gang,
Um,
gang.
well, what is your final thoughts? So, will you go to college, Juwan?
I think I will definitely go to college. I will go to college, but I will try my best to take advantage of college. To my advantage, dude. I'm recently even thinking of starting a side hustle right now. I don't know. Maybe it's just the thing that I've
I
been
think
pondering
you're
about.
jumping around, man. Just focus on YouTube and school. Just focus on YouTube and school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. What about yourself, Cam?
For me, I think I will go. I'll have to find some more pros so that I am more enthusiastic. But I am trying to like learn more about it, get more into it because I know that I will be going. Um, I just really want to try to get into a good college because if I'm just like going to college to go to college, I may as well get into the best college I can get into. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get into Harvard right now, trying to optimize myself for that Harvard degree, trying to go crazy just to
HBS.
say I got into
HBS.
Harvard. What?
There's a Harvard program called HBS, Harvard Business
What's
School.
that?
It's like
Oh,
the
really?
top.
That's
I think
cool.
it's like the top business. Like it's one of the top business schools.
Isn't
I
that a
mean, Harvard
graduate
runs.
program?
Oh yeah, shoot, never mind. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
graduate program.
yeah.
So
A
like
lot of the
maybe
business schools. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's probably for MBA.
yeah. Harvard
I
MBA.
I got no clue. I got no clue.
Harvard MBA, man. That's such like a meme. He's got a Harvard
All right,
MBA, man.
optimizers.
All right.
Optimizers.
Well,
You're gonna go to
hopefully
Harvard.
y'all learn some learn something nice. Hopefully y'all go to college because and use your time effectively, or
Yeah.
you really realize that if you don't have the choice, then use your time effectively. And if you do have the choice, then use your time effectively. Main thing, use your time effectively, right?
Stay optimal. Remember,
Stay on the
always
run.
stay optimal.
Ah.